sign of the perfect test lab. They can use the stuff on live subjects. Then they're probably radioing our station right now reporting us, said Contreras, opening the map in his lap and turning on his flashlight. I can't see the road with the light on, said Pittman, his attention drawn to the map. We need to figure out where the— Watch out! Said Contreras, grabbing the steering wheel. Pittman instinctively slammed on the brakes, the SUV skidding to a halt less than a foot from a small cluster of migrants who had stepped into the road. The headlights illuminated the group, now shrouded in a cloud of dust kicked up by the sudden stop. Something was off here. They were barefoot, dressed in bras and underwear. As the dust swirled around them, slowly settling, he saw the real problem. 5 girls, ages ranging from early high school to late grade school, stood huddled in the road, none of them eager to leave. They didn't resemble anything he'd seen before out here. Grab them before they run, said Contreras, scrambling out of the SUV. Pittman followed, but without the same sense of urgency. These kids showed no interest in escaping, quite the opposite. Their desperate looks and trembling bodies gave him immediate pause, like they were on the run from something far more sinister than the cartels or Border Patrol. For the first time since he'd started patrolling the border a few weeks ago, he rested his hand on his holster and approached them cautiously. Don't touch them, said Pittman as Contreras circled around them with his flashlight up. Something isn't right. Contreras must have finally sensed it, because he stopped in his tracks and brought his unoccupied hand to his holster. What is this? Said Contreras. Why are they half naked? Can you tell if they're carrying anything? Said Pittman. Contreras moved the flashlight up and down and in between the kids. Nothing I can see. They're not even wearing shoes. As Pittman got closer, the dust having mostly cleared, he noticed that 2 of the kids didn't look like any of the migrant children he'd seen on the job. He pulled his flashlight and pointed it at one of the kids, directing the beam at her dirty, bruised face. What the hell? The kid had light hair and blue eyes. She looked starkly European, which made no sense at all out here. Hablas español? He said, getting no response. English? A few of the kids shook their heads. Do you speak any other languages? Said Pittman, glancing at Contreras. I was born in Tucson, Arizona, to 2 migrant workers. English was my foreign language. Funny. Pittman turned his flashlight toward the side of the road where the group had presumably emerged, following the scrub beyond the jeep trail to a small rise. He pointed in that direction. Did you come from there? He said, a few of the kids following his gesture. Over there? The kids quickly looked down and shook their heads. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Parlez-vous français? Said Pittman. How many languages do you speak? That's all I know outside of Espanol, said Pittman. Speaky Rusky? 2 of the children glanced at him furtively, including the blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid. He examined the group again, determining that the other kid who stole a peek at him also looked European, or possibly Russian. Rusky must have translated to something the kids recognized. Upon further inspection, the other 3 didn't look like Central American or Mexican migrants. They had somewhat dark skin and black hair, but now he wasn't sure. Something about them looked more European. They don't look like the kind of migrants we get coming through here, said Pittman. You've only been on the job for a few weeks. How do you know what comes through here? Said Contreras. Let's get them back to the station. We can sort out their situation after we get them cleaned up and dressed. Pittman stared in a southerly direction, toward the pitch darkness of the border. He'd studied the maps back at the station and knew that very little lay directly south of the Jacumbo Wilderness area, a continuation of low mountains and sharp hills like those surrounding him, punctuated by long stretches of sandy desert, a few sparsely inhabited towns with intermittent electricity and half-paved roads. The sleepy, discarded impression left by the Mexican side was deceiving.